wide brown eyes. I am the best parts of my Cajun mama and my country daddy. I work here on these fields, but not in the fields. I'm responsible for washing Master's clothes. And although I wasn't the lightest, I never got into trouble like the other people working the field. My cocoa flesh and shapely figure was what made him like me so much. So much that whenever I do something wrong, he wouldn't punish me. He would just approach me dangerously close and say two words only: shed. Now. And although I may not have lashes on my back, my skin still bears scars and tells a story. The story of heated and one-sided lust and Master's desire to rip my flower open from the inside. I could never tell him, or I could never tell him no, or else I wouldn't be his favorite no more. But the things he done to me, nobody would really want the honor of being called his favorite anyway. I always knew when it was my time with Master. The way he always made sure to come around my family house to, check on things himself. It was as if I could smell him behind me, which in all actuality I could. His funky scent was all in my pores and written intricately into each nerve fiber. He would approach my rounded backside with hands on my hips. He would just breathe into my ear. He would breathe his tobacco and whiskey-laced words of what he wanted to do to me this time. I shuddered. My dress clinging to my body as I showed up to his favorite spot in the field. There in Master's tool shed is where we'd be. Every time the same thing. Wear a dress that hugs my body just so. Anything that made my breasts show off their full and ample nature. Perfume scent of rose water that my auntie made behind each ear. Whew. Okay. The day's work washed away from my body. I would stand in the doorway, eyes fixed on his. I knew the only way that I would survive my time on the field is to play along with Master, so I did. Every time. I made up a new fantasy that took my body away from the reality that is my present day. This time, him, my husband, James, coming home from a long day at work, him needing me in such a way, heavy-footed, I'd stroll to him, kiss him in the mouth and savor the pungent yet filthy tang of his nasty mouth. At first, I used to think to myself, his mouth must probably taste so bad from all the vile things he says to the rest of the people on his feet. Anyway, on those thoughts I can't linger long, lest he'd find out how I really feel about him. Now, I am back in my husband's embrace. Master no longer some pale-faced man with straight brown hair, now him James, skin like molasses, blue-black, knotty hair, rough callous skin, smelling like a mixture of dirt, grass, and wanting sweat. James was mine before Master took him from me, because he caught us one day standing a little too close, eyes a little too fixed, grin a little too wide. James got sold off to a rougher field in the Delta. So now whenever we's together, I make Master James to me. Frantic kisses and husky breath. He's on me so fast, hands like octopus. He grabs at my dress, pulling it up quickly, pressing my back against the table. He enters my repeatedly tarnished space, thrusting further into my fading innocence. I disappear to him and to myself. Although I moan when I'm asked to, and my nails are in his back as he roughly requested me every time we meet here. He takes all his stresses out on me as if I am his caretaker. He needs sexual healing, and I'm supposed to be his personal physician. He forcefully tears my thighs apart and buries himself as he frees his inner demons completely, draining me, draining his hot acid-like concoction into me. His clammy white skin reappears to me. My images of James are no longer there. I am reminded of my place in my current position. I am his favorite, and he is my master. Soft tears roll down my cheek with splintered back and dripping sacred space. He's labored and rough breathing on my flesh as he slides off top of me. I'm forced to gather myself quickly because I refuse to look like what I just went through. The sound of his loose pants and clanging belt shake me back to the reality I never thought I'd be in, yet here I am, walking out of our love nest. He grabs me roughly. I turn to him with puzzled look in my eye. He pulls me in for one final kiss, liquid and still stank. Taking out a wad of cash from his pants, he hands me 8 bills, one for each letter of my name. Georgina, Georgina. Taking them with bowed head, I walk away from him, knowing that I have done my job well and maintained my coveted and personally detested position as Master's favorite. Thank you.